Welcome to the April 8th, 2025 City Council meeting, 6:30 City Council Chamber. We'll start with a prayer. Dear God, today as this session opens, we pray that your presence will be before us and everyone who serves in the decision-making process of our city. We pray for direction, which will lead our city to be strong and unified. May we continue the legacy of our founders. May we be granted this day the wisdom to make decisions which be for the good of our city. We also pray for your special blessing on all those who are working to transform our city and make it a better place to live and work. Amen. Salute the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Dakota.
Here.
Councilor Kitchia.
Here.
Councilor Janess.
Here.
Councilor Mercia.
Here.
Councilor Noon.
Here.
Councilor Robinson.
Here.
Mayor Rourke.
Here.
Councilor Scott. Councilor Yen.
Here.
Councilor Belanger.
Here.
Councilor Chow.
Here.
11 present.
Any moments of silence? No. Moving on, Mayor's Business 2.1, communication for remote Zoom participation. Motion to accept the place on file by Councilor Belanger, seconded by Councilor Janess. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. And this evening, we are very fortunate and honored to recognize a youngster in our community that has made some great accomplishments. His name is Antoine Jackman. Antoine Jackman is a student at the Greater Lowell Vocational High School. Recently came back from Virginia Beach and did his city and school very, very proud with his performance down there. And to start us off, we're going to go to his coach, Coach Cassidy. Come on down.
The wrong place there.
Should have been down here.
A long walk down.
I should have done my job.
Yeah. Should have him yell.
We should have played music. We should give him a round.
Be here at 10 o'clock anyway. You had your dry run, so this is a big time here. That's right, yeah.
What's that?
You had your dry run already back there. This is your big time.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank everyone for coming, all his support, all his teammates. I appreciate all the support. Thank you for the superintendent, Jill Davis, Paul Moran, Mike Barton. I'd like to thank Eric Gitchier for putting this together. Eric knows, obviously, Antoine from his work out at Greater Lowell. But I just want to tell you a little something about Antoine. He has this at the National Wrestling Tournament. He had a great run. He was 10-2 for the whole tournament. He went 1-1 on day one, and then you lose one match, you have to sit out the rest of the day, and then you come back the following day and you have to wrestle. He wrestled 9 matches in a row, which was unbelievable. He had to win every one of them. If you lose, you're out. So he won 9 in a row, and the first 6 matches were probably within, I don't know, 25 minutes, 30 minutes. It was a great run. He was on. The will to win right there was unbelievable. He showed what it was, Griffin Pride, it was all about, and he wrestled very well. And then he wrestled the consolation finals, semifinals, and the consolation finals he lost by 1 point. It ended up going to review. They had to review the match. First they said we won. It was like, oh great, we came in third in the nation. That's great. But then upon review they took it away. We ended up coming in fourth. But we had a great run. Antoine he's a great athlete. He's a great asset to our community. We're lucky to have him. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah.
Antoine, head up there. We're here tonight to honor and give a citation to Antoine Jackman. In recognition of his achievement as Greater Lowell Technical High School's first All-American wrestler, we proudly honor him for his outstanding season and for all his performance at the National High School Coaches Association Nationals in Virginia Beach, where he secured 9 consecutive victories, earning a top 4 national finish. As a sophomore, Antoine concluded a remarkable season with a 45-7 record, bringing his career total to 98-12. His achievements thus far include second place at the Division I Sectionals, second at the All-State and New England Championships, and third at the Division I State Championships. In addition to his National All-American honor, Antoine has been recognized as a Boston Herald, Boston Globe, and Lowell Sun All-Star. A dedicated athlete, exemplary teammate, and respected leader, he embodies the values of resilience, excellence, and sportsmanship, both on and off the mat. Now, therefore, I, Daniel P. Rourke, on behalf of the entire City Council and the residents of Lowell, hereby congratulate Antoine Jackman for his extraordinary achievements this season and career thus far, given his 8th year of April 2025.
Again, I just want to thank everybody for coming and supporting me.
Now, you're all welcome to stay for the entire meeting if you like. We're going to be until about 8:30, 9 o'clock, so if you feel like it, stick around. Have to get you ahead.
Why you leaving?
Thank you, Mayor Rourke. On behalf of Greater Lowell in our community, Antoine Jackman, that was probably the hardest thing he ever did, was standing up there and speaking. It was harder than any match he's ever been in. And when you think about Antoine, you have to think about the community that has been around him all the way. Michaela Byrne and Mike Casey did an amazing job. We had tonight the superintendent of Greater Lowell here, the assistant superintendent, Paul Moran, a school committee member, Matt Sheehan, a school committee member. We also had his wrestling team, who took time out of their day. When you're young like that, you take a whole wrestling team and you bring them here to City Hall. It's amazing to see how much community meant to him. When you go down to the Nationals like he did, they all ask him, where the heck is Lowell, Massachusetts? Well, Antoine just put us on the map again, and I'm sure there'll be more wrestlers from this area coming down there, and Antoine will be there again next year. And we can't thank everybody enough for the support they've given him through the time he's been doing it. Thank you again, Mayor Rourke.
Yeah, thank you. Moving on, Section 3, City Clerk, 4.1, minutes of the City Council regular meeting, April 1st for acceptance. Motion to accept the place on file by Councilor Dakota, second by Councilor Getchia. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, motion passes. Not being 7 o'clock yet, we'll skip the general public hearing. Section 5, City Council motions.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
could we take 5.9 out of order, please?
By Councilor Dakota, second by Councilor Mercia, take 5.9 out of order. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 5.9, Councilor Dakota requests city manager provide an update on the installation of sidewalks on Campbell and Fleming Streets, seconded by Councilor Getchia, Councilor Dakota.
I think, Mr. Clerk, do we have a registered?
There is a registered speaker, Counselor Catherine Dillon. Catherine Dillon.
Hi, my name's Kathy Dillon. I live at 657 Stevens Street. So just to go back, at the City Council meeting on April 16th, 2024, the motion for sidewalks was submitted. You might remember the city plan at the time was to upgrade sidewalks throughout the city, with the #1 priority being school zones. The Bailey and Daly schools were not included in that plan because there are no sidewalks to be upgraded. I, along with School Committeeman Fred Bahu and others, spoke in favor of the motion. In addition to Councilors Getchia and Dakota, several other councilors spoke in favor. The major concern was drop-off and pickup at both schools was unsafe for students and their parents, and we submitted at that time 100 signatures from parents. Another concern the city might have is how are we going to pay for this? Well, the city manager and the council fully supported the need and said on April 16th, 2024, that it's a good time to consider this because of the timing of the budget. The manager indicated that the city has a $4.8 million contract with Allied Paving, and they are able to increase it by 25%. This suggested the city could find the money. Following the meeting, the city posted a survey for the neighbors, and on June 17th, 2024, a meeting was held at the Bailey School to discuss neighborhood concerns. The survey had been sent out originally to just the abutters, and then at my request to the greater neighborhood. The question asked, would you like the city to construct sidewalks on one side of Campbell Drive, Fleming Street, and St. Paul? So Liz Altman reviewed the survey, and I do have these, if you wouldn't mind passing them along. That's the motion response, so I'm not going to review all that stuff, and everybody can have a copy of it so you can see them for yourselves. So when looking at the results, and this is important, the results that included the greater neighborhood, for all 3 streets, sidewalks were clearly supported. With that said, for many abutters, it immediately created fear. What is it going to mean for me? Are you going to take my land? Are you going to take my fence or my wall? And will it cost me money? Those are all very valid concerns. So at the suggestion of Councilor Getchia, it was decided the engineering department would review and come back with answers. So moving forward, the City Council meeting on July 9th, 2024, the city manager responded to the motion, providing some answers for the neighborhood concerns. I'm not going to read them. They're on the back page of what I just handed out. But the takeaways are Campbell Drive, no property takings. We can avoid telephone poles, and drainage concerns are to be considered. For Fleming Street, it was most desirable and necessary, and they were going to move forward to see how that can happen. St. Paul Street, it said, was not desirable, appropriate, or necessary. I can't imagine why if you're there when school gets out, but I assume that was already scheduled to be paved last summer and was paved, so maybe they took that off the plate because it just was being paved and it didn't get in time. So for this reason, tonight's motion is only including Campbell Drive and Fleming Street updates. I don't believe any of these findings, these positive findings, have been communicated to the neighbors, and I imagine their responses might be different once their fears had been calmed. So the response also indicated, in the meantime, that it says Liz would reach out to the schools for needs, evaluating the existing circulation patterns, and provide recommendations for short-term, low-cost opportunities for safety improvements that could be implemented in the next school year. Attempts were made in September with little to no success. Drop-off and pickup remains unsafe. On a personal note, for the short term and low cost, I have 2 requests. A crosswalk at the intersection of Campbell Drive and Hanson Terrace. This would be helpful for walkers to avoid the St. Paul Street chaos trying to cross the street. The second one is to change the no parking signs to the opposite side of the street. This would allow for parking only on the school side. Students could exit the cars on the passenger side, walk along the yards, because they have to walk in yards anyways, on the side without having to cross the street at all. That would help the traffic flow traveling down Campbell Drive, not having to stop while everybody's crossing streets in front of them. If we just mimic Westchester Street sidewalks, Westchester Street's the sidewalks that were put in 30 years ago when the school was built, parking on one side, the same side as the school, parking on the same side as the sidewalks, one-way traffic during school hours. So City Manager Golden, you were very receptive to the concerns 1 year ago. Your comments included, this is something that is extremely important to us. We'll see if we can actually make this happen sooner rather than later, and we hear you loud and clear. So, Mr. Manager, I'm going to hold you to those words. I'm asking you tonight for a firm commitment that this project is happening, and I look forward to continuous communication from the appropriate party to discuss updates and a timeline. Thank you.
Councilor Dakota?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think Mrs. Dillon has hit on all the topics of discussion from July of last year. And obviously, I pick up my granddaughter every day at the Bailey School, and it is utter chaos there, and it's quite a dangerous situation over there. I guess I would ask you, Mr. City Manager, have you been in talks with Ms. Altman, where we are at this stage? Are we still gathering data? Obviously, some of the data that Mrs. Dillon has put forth is deemed favorable for sidewalks. And with that being said, also, I do agree with Mrs. Dillon. We should restrict the parking or dropping off the students on the right-hand side of Campbell and leaving the left side vacant. That would help out because the students can get out on the right-hand side of the passenger side and not into the middle of the street, which is happening right now. And it's just quite dangerous. So just like to hear your response.
Mr. Manager?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through to the council. Council, as previously stated, this survey did bring a lot of fear to the neighborhood. There were a lot of people that did participate in the survey, and some did not. We did look to do some short-term, low-cost impacts with the school department. That was not greeted exactly with excitement, but right now what we have going out is we do have, I'm hoping in the next couple of weeks, to put out counters out in that area to prove the issue, from a vehicle standpoint, what the timeframes are. And I'm sure everybody knows this here. I'm sure everybody could say from 2 o'clock to 2:30 there is a problem. But we'd like to ensure that we have the counters out in this week or even next week. And we are putting the cost together and the cost estimate. We do believe there's other things we could possibly do, which I don't want to kind of debate here. But I know we have to work with the school department as well to try to see if we can make it a little bit safer for folks. The two pieces about the crosswalk and the changing the no parking signs, I'll speak with Ms. Altman to find out if that can happen on the short term. But this survey did cause a lot of angst in the neighborhood as to what to do. But we will continue to move forward and have a solution, I hope, or an options of solutions in coming weeks.
I'll look forward to the update. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair?
Thank you, Mayor Rourke. I would caution running a city's public safety on surveys. It's either public safety or a survey. When you look at Westchester Street, they were adding the Bailey, and the studies showed that a sidewalk was needed to get down there safely. And I don't think anything is different with the Daily School when you look at that area. As we all know, it doesn't matter the time frame. Is it safe or is it not safe? We put many traffic lights up because of periods of high congestion and move traffic in a safe manner. And it's the same thing here. I went to the Daily School many years ago, maybe when it was built with a different material, but when I was there, walking home was dangerous. And there's not nearly as many cars and everything that's moving up and down that area as there is today. So I'd be interested in seeing the study, not the survey, and see exactly how this pans out. And looking at the engineer's report, who just looks at raw data, it shows that this is a needed piece, not something that we should be polling neighbors to see what makes them happy. We have to worry about children in the city also. So I thank you for the work that you're putting into this, Mr. Manager, and I thank Ms. Altman for that, but I do think that we need to move in a fast manner. Thank you.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. Councilor Yam.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. May I move, suspend the rule and move the motion, respond B out of order, please?
By Councilor Yam, seconded by Councilor Mercia, to take Section 6, motion response B
Mr. Clerk, we have a registered speaker, Mr. Clerk.
out of order. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes.
Owen Kelly.
Good evening. My name is Owen Kelly. I live at 1005 Westford Street. I thank you all for the opportunity to speak tonight on the motion response to the recent decision regarding the Smith Baker Center. I'm a longtime Lowell resident and the current executive director of Allies in Music Education, a nonprofit that's been dedicated to providing accessible music and arts programming to the Lowell community for the past 5 years. I'm also honored to introduce myself as the recently appointed CEO of the Lowell Center for the Arts, an organization formed through, excuse me, a strategic partnership of Allies in Music Education, my organization, and the Smith Baker Preservation Corporation, with the goal of securing, preserving, and revitalizing the historic Smith Baker Center. First and foremost, I want to extend my gratitude to all of you for your time and service to the city, and a special thank you to the councilors who voted in favor of rescinding the vote to demolish the Smith Baker Center. I also want to thank City Manager Tom Golden and Assistant City Manager Giovanni Baez for the motion response regarding the city's willingness to explore alternatives to demolition. This building is not just a piece of history, it's an opportunity. We have a rare chance to preserve an architectural and cultural landmark while transforming it into a thriving asset for Lowell's economy and community. Myself and the whole Lowell Center for the Arts team look forward to seeing the results of the hazardous materials assessment, as well as the potential to collaborate with the Massachusetts Historical Commission on the preservation of building artifacts and the creation of preservation records if we're selected to take on this project. With that in mind, I'd like to quickly share the plan we've been developing. If selected to take on the redevelopment of the Smith Baker Center, the Lowell Center for the Arts will transform this space into a world-class performing arts and community center. Our vision includes performance spaces for concerts, theater and dance, music and arts education programs for all ages, practice rooms, a recording studio and rehearsal spaces for local musicians and artists, a cafe, cabaret, lounge, a dynamic venue operating as a full-service coffee shop by day and a lively bar and lounge by night, gallery spaces to showcase local and regional and national artists, co-working spaces for entrepreneurs and startups, and a shared-use commercial kitchen supporting upcoming restaurateurs, caterers, and community programming. Beyond being an arts center, the Lowell Center for the Arts will serve as an economic engine for the city. Rather than spending money on demolition, this project will generate revenue through business operations, including the cafe cabaret, event space rentals for functions and weddings, ticket sales for concerts and performances, and tuition and fees from our community programs and co-working space rentals. The Lowell Center for the Arts will also attract tourism, increase foot traffic in downtown Lowell, and with confirmed partners like the Lowell Philharmonic Orchestra, Cambodia Town Lowell, the Common Voice Community Chorus, and UMass Lowell's Music Department, we will bring high-profile concerts, festivals, and cultural events to the city. Events that bring visitors, create jobs, and support local businesses. This is more than just an arts project, it's an investment in Lowell's future. We have a plan, we have a team, and we have a clear path forward. I urge you to support this vision and help us turn the Smith Baker Center into a vibrant, sustainable, and revenue-generating asset for the city. In closing, I'll also add that if the Lowell Center for the Arts is not selected to take on the Smith Baker Center, we do intend on moving forward and establishing a center in an alternative location, and look forward to bringing this project to life no matter what the future holds for the Smith Baker Center. So thank you. I look forward to working with you all in the future.
Councilor Yam.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Kelly. It's my first time meeting Mr. Kelly. He reached out after seeing the motion respond, and I'm delighted to see he was be appointed as a CEO of a rebrand of Lowell Center for the Arts. It sounds catchy, and I also want to thank Mr. Manager, Assistant Manager for supporting and put out this RFP. I'm hoping that when the RFP come out, other entity who are interested in preserving Smith-Baker will come forward as well, in addition to Lowell Center for the Art. Thank you again, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Manager.
Councilor Robinson?
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the manager. Before this RFP is put out, will the council have a chance to review and discuss in like an executive session before it's made public?
Council, that's something that, sure, we could, if that's the wish of the body. We could, I'm pretty sure, I want to make sure that legally we can do that, Mr. Williams. I don't see a problem with it. If anyone has any ideas on it, please feel free.
Mr. Gray?
Mr. Mayor, yeah, there's no issue with it legally. I think I would question if that's a function of the city council as opposed to, on the legislative side, as opposed, under a planning form of government, that's more something that's handled by the manager. But if ultimately the manager and everyone decides that that's what's best, then it's not illegal.
Okay, thank you.
There are certain parameters we have to follow in the RFP because of the building and its history.
Oh, right. Yeah. I mean, there are absolutely certain things that will have to go into the RFP, but there will be other things perhaps that could be discussed that maybe there's some sort of room one way or the other as to what should and shouldn't go in. But yeah, we'll be able to identify the requirements that absolutely have to go into it. And if there are other ideas, as long as they don't run afoul of those, that would be okay.
What's it noon?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I would actually, if this is in the form of motions, I would second that so that we have opportunity to discuss. I understand that the decision finally will be on the manager, but the discussion on what should be on the RFP is for us. We want to have a say in it. Thank you.
Councilor Getchia? Mr. Manager, you want to go first? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through the council. We want to be clear not to, if we're in executive session, we wouldn't have the ability to give anyone an unfair advantage on any of this. So if there's ideas that people have, I'd be glad to collect them or go into executive session. That'd be totally fine. I just want to ensure that, it's not viewed in the wrong way. So if anybody has any ideas, or if we want to go into executive session, I just wouldn't want it to be viewed as we're trying to give anyone a leg up on this. It needs to go out into the central registry. Everyone's going to have an opportunity to bid on this if they so desire to do so, and we need to move forward in an appropriate manner. That's what I was trying to get at with Attorney Williams.
Councilor Getchia?
Thank you, Mayor Rourke. And whether I agree or disagree with the solicitor's opinion, I would say that there are 10 reasons why you can go into executive session, and one of them outlines that it's negotiations or contract purposes for municipal properties and lands and sales and stuff like that, and this would be considered in that in an RFP. So I think it isn't we're stating anything, we're stating a position that we'd like to hear from the manager, because realistically, when you look at the memo, the only thing that's highlighted in going out in the RFP would just be the hazardous materials be removed from the building. So that's the only thing that we see. We're just trying to put this, be part of putting the city in a position, that's all. It's not about directing anybody, but more sharing ideas in a way that can benefit the city. Thank you.
Belanger?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Speaking to Councilor Getchia's point, Mr. Mayor, through you to the manager. Mr. Manager, where are we at with the hazardous material assessment at this point? I know it's in the hands of a local firm. I'm just wondering where we stand.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Councilor. Good night. Good evening. We already received the report. We're still going through it in detail. But what it states is the materials that they have found based on their methods and sensors and whatnot, it doesn't still connect it to what will be to be kept from a historic point of view. Mm-hmm. That's why in the response we added that in the RFP we will add language that requires the respondents to work with the Massachusetts Historic Commission to determine what are those elements that need to be preserved. That will be an obligation from the state's point of view, from the Massachusetts Historic Commission point of view. But that overlay of what's historic, what's to be preserved, and what's a hazardous material that hasn't been done yet. The study is there, but it's more generic in the sense of the entire building.
Okay. And you would have an estimation with the RFP, and the council may want to have input. Could back up a little. Do you have a time frame on the RFP? How soon? I'd like
Yeah.
to get this.
Thank you. Yeah, we're hoping to finish the RFP in about 3 to 4 weeks. So by the end of this month, we should have it ready. And then it will be a matter of scheduling the executive session when that takes place.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Look forward. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I just, before the motion, we vote on it. I disagree with going to executive session about this. In almost 12 years of serving, and never gone before an RFP to set parameters. Not to say it's not legal, but with 11 different opinions and voices, I think this is a job left for professionals to take care of. Respect for the other side's argument, but I think it's a very bad idea going to executive session prior to an RFP to establish one. So with that being said, Mr. Clerk, do a roll call, please.
Counsel Dakota.
No.
Counsel Getchia.
Yes.
Counsel Janess.
No.
Counsel Mercier.
Yes.
Counsel Noon.
Yes.
Counsel Robinson.
Yes.
Mayor Rourke.
No.
Counsel Scott.
No.
Counsel Yem.
No.
Counsel Belanger.
No.
Counsel Chow.
No.
Motion fails.
Council Janess?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. While we're under suspension of the rules, I'd like to see if we could take up under 6.2, the informational report, the NEMCOG annual report.
By Council Janess, seconded by Council Getchia. Take 7.2 information report out of, sorry, not 7.2. What was it? It's information report.
NEMCOG annual report.
Under
Yep.
6.2, I apologize. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, motion passes.
Exactly.
You can see her again. How are you, Ms. Raitt?
Good evening.
All right.
I'm Jennifer Raitt. I'm the Executive Director of the Northern Middlesex Council of Governments. I did submit a presentation, I believe.
That's not it.
It was in the council packet.
You don't have it.
I have it.
Oh, you have it?
You don't have it?
Okay. Well, while we are waiting, I will say hello and thank you for having me here tonight. I will just start, if that is okay. And I believe the materials are in the packet for you, unless you would like me to wait, Mr. Chair. Okay. So I am representing the Northern Middlesex Council of Governments as the Executive Director. I have been the Director since July of 22. I know I have not had the opportunity to meet all of you. We actually usually provide these annual report updates for all of our communities as part of an annual report that we issue for their town reports, and then I provide an update and answer any questions. And so I thought I would try to do that with the City Council and make it a practice annually, if you are so interested in entertaining that. It is an opportunity for me to explain what our agency is doing for the region as well as directly for the city, and to look for more opportunities for your engagement. We have been the regional planning agency based here in Lowell since 1963. We are an 18-member policy board with representatives from each of the greater Lowell communities. That is the 9 communities that you see here on the screen. They include Billerica, Chelmsford, Dracut, Dunstable, Lowell, Pepperell, Tewksbury, Tingsboro, and Westford. And all of them each designate a select board member, or of course in your case a city council member, and a planning board member, who all serve as voting members of the board, as well as an alternate designee. These are annual appointments. They typically happen after your first organizational meeting following an election. The purpose of our agency is to ultimately increase municipal capacity for each one of our communities. Of course, also work to foster regional cooperation and coordination, which might include the delivery of our local technical assistance to your communities, but also regional planning services to member communities. And I'll talk about what that looks like here in Lowell. But the next slide is a description of who is actually serving on our council from Lowell. So, of course, many thanks to Councillor Janess for serving as our NIMCOG council designee from the city, as well as Jerry Frechette, who is the Lowell Planning Board designee and also the vice chair of the council, and also a very active member, as you can see on the screen here, including Councillor Janess, who serves on the Northern Middlesex Metropolitan Planning Organization, which is the designating body that we staff that helps to coordinate all transportation infrastructure funding across the region. Jerry Frechette is serving as the NIMCOG Council Treasurer, and also, he's the Vice Chair of the Planning Board, excuse me, and he is the NIMCOG Council Treasurer, as well as serving on our Personnel Committee, our Finance Committee, and currently updating our Council's bylaws. We currently have a vacancy from Lowell. It is for the alternate designee. That person can be designated by City Manager Golden at any point in time and can begin serving as soon as possible. So we welcome an alternate designee if you have one available and willing to serve. We meet monthly, the third Wednesday of every month. It is a hybrid meeting at our office at Wanalancet Mills, and then also available on Zoom. So the next slide indicates an overview of the kind of work that we've done with the city most recently. I'm, of course, not going to give you a walk down memory lane of 60 years of service to the city, but we most recently have helped the city and working in very close collaboration with the Department of Planning and Development, who we really enjoy working with a lot of the different members of the team. Thank you very much to the director and deputy director for their guidance, and the economic development director as well. With their input and a lot of communication, we work to help you to look at your MBTA Communities Act district, which you adopted last year, to make sure that it was compliant before it was submitted to the state. That was working through a complex model that the state had asked every community to look at before it was submitted. We also helped with a downtown open streets planning process. We assisted with a grant application for one of your parks, which you received funding for. We are one of the lead coordinators with the Lowell Regional Transit Authority to make sure that they have the capital and the operational support that they need to function, not just here in the city, but across the region, and expand upon that support when necessary as part of our regional technical assistance. We most recently completed the Lowell Homes and Housing Plan, which is technically your housing production plan. It was approved, or rather adopted, by the Planning Board last year, and it is pending council adoption. It is currently in a subcommittee and I believe returning soon. And once adopted fully by both boards, then it will be submitted to the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities at the Commonwealth level for their ultimate approval. It's a 5-year plan. That plan was embedded within your Lowell Forward Comprehensive Plan. Additionally, over the many years, we've assisted the city with making sure that the Rourke Bridge is the top regional priority on our TIP, and which of course is now set to at some point this year start construction, as well as you can see here, as part of our transportation improvement program, the VFW Highway and the Lowell Connector projects are both listed on our TIP over the next 5 years, with hopes to begin advancement of those particular projects and more. We also coordinate a regional traffic counting program to monitor congestion, traffic, and other transportation demand trends across the region. We are an active and engaged partner on the LINK project and look forward to that proceeding. I also serve as a member of the City Manager's Task Force on Homelessness and Sustainable Housing. And then the next slide. We, of course, engage in a lot of regional collaboration, and that is absolutely including a lot of participation by various staff from the city, including our Northern Middlesex Stormwater Collaborative, which has been strong since 2009. We are actively updating our Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy, or what's known as the CEDS. We also helped the city to pull together a regional homelessness summit as a partner. We are actively developing a regional housing strategy called At Home in Greater Lowell. We just hired a regional housing coordinator as well as a regional energy manager. And we will be updating our regional transportation plan in the coming couple of years. The current plan is called Envision 2050. We also completed the Greater Lowell Vision Zero plan, which is a complement to the city's Safe Streets and Roads for All grant received to look at safer streets in neighborhoods across Lowell, and will help with that action planning process as well. We also conducted a bus stop inventory for the LRTA, which looked at amenities, accommodations, and other things across the bus stops in the entire system, and recommended some opportunities for improvements. And we are about to complete a regional digital equity plan. Every single link on this particular PowerPoint presentation goes to a specific place on our website or elsewhere to provide you with additional information should you have any questions. So what's next in the PowerPoint? We are going to be this year working on the Lowell Urban Renewal Master Plan, which includes a review of the Acre Urban Revitalization and Development Plan, the Ayers City Industrial Park, and the JAM District. And we will also be helping to engage in the City of Lowell, as well as other regional partners in the Regional Bike Ped Plan, some additional supplemental planning on safety, continue to serve on the City Manager's Task Force. The second phase of our At Home in Greater Lowell plan is continuing. And additional watershed studies are also happening to look at stormwater assets inventory and mapping, as well as green community support and climate planning. We're also, most importantly, I think to the city would be an LRTA jobs accessibility analysis, which will help us to better understand, especially with LINK, the impacts on access to transportation in the region to those new jobs that are coming, and that will be in very big demand. So thank you very much for your time this evening. I would be glad to entertain any questions should you have them. And of course, as I mentioned, if you would like any further information about any of the items that I've mentioned, they are available through this document on the city's website through a link.
Ms. Ray, thank you very much. Councilor Janus.
Very welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I'd like to just say thank you to Ms. Wright for being here and providing this update for the body and the community. I think it's a good thing for everyone to be tapped into what's going on over at NEMCOG, and I'd like to thank you, your staff, and everyone else who serves on both the NEMCOG Council and the MPO board. There's a lot of good minds who are doing a lot of good work and putting in a lot of effort to move these things forward, and it really helps the communities really take that next step and continue to grow in a sustainable way. So thank you.
Councilor Getchia.
Thank you, Mayor Rourke. Thank you for everything you do. I think it's important. Going back a couple years, the Unhoused Summit that you put together and we all worked so hard on, why do you think it was such a failure from other communities not to invest in coming? And is there a way we can reopen that discussion with the other communities and try to do a maybe ×2 summit maybe and see if we can bring other communities back together?
I think there's a great opportunity to bring the communities back together, especially as we're working on the regional housing strategy right now. There's certainly an appetite to discuss these issues, and with the manager's work with other managers across the region, there's a real interest in trying to find ways to work together. What those solutions are, I think, is up to everybody, as you noted, coming to the table, and so I think we'll work really hard to make that happen.
Is there a way we can put you as the chairman of putting everyone back together and trying it again and seeing if we can, I mean, through you,
We would be
Mr.
glad
Manager,
to work
obviously
with
it's
the city.
the manager's position to do that, but I just think we need to keep that conversation going and see if we can get more people to the table. At that time, I think we were all a little disappointed with Lowell showed up and very minimal of anyone else. Thank you again for everything you do.
You're welcome.
Councilor Yam.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just have a quick question. Since NIMCOG is such a really dynamic organization helping local government, like including the city of Lowell, my question is, do we have any other similar kind of NIMCOG in other part of the state?
That is an excellent question. And in my introduction, I might have added that we are one of 13 of such organizations across the Commonwealth. So there are 12 of our other agencies. So every single city and town in the Commonwealth is served by a regional planning agency.
Thank you. I missed that part. But do you, among the 13, get together and kind of share notes, what works, what not works, so that it would be, beneficial to regional like our area?
The Massachusetts Association of Regional Planning Agencies has a monthly meeting, and we bring in various state officials and others to make sure that we're coordinating, sometimes coordinating on grant funding, often coordinating on projects together, and also looking ahead into what's coming in the future through the state or any policy changes that we need to make sure we let our communities know about. Just really an opportunity to share what we're doing and try to work together.
On that note, my last question would be, of that regional get-together, how do everybody think about the homeless issues in their cities and town?
We have not spent time talking specifically about that issue, but we talk about housing pretty frequently and housing policies. But it is something that I think I could bring up at a future meeting and see what those responses are, and certainly bring that back as part of maybe some broader conversation that we just talked about.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Noon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilor Kachia asked you a question about the success of that conference a number of years ago where we adopt the Housing First initiative. And you also indicated that you serve on the City Manager Task Force on Homelessness and Sustainable Housing. How many of those recommendations or findings from that conference that Housing First initiative has been implemented thus far, and how many left to be implemented?
So I think that what we identified were a number of areas that have long range, sort of our longer term. And I would say that the things that are in progress now are some of the things that I noted that we're doing here in the city. One of them is the Lowell Homes and Housing Plan, which has a section that talks about unhoused populations and people experiencing homelessness or at risk and what to do about that. So I think that the sooner that plan gets adopted, that more quickly we can start implementing those items. I think that also that is a piece for what NIMCOG is doing, working on the At-Home and Greater Lowell plan to get back to the points made about making sure all of our communities across the region are engaged on the topic. That's what NIMCOG has been doing. I think for a more comprehensive update on other items related to the city or other communities across the region, we'd maybe need a little more time for that.
Are we near the implementation of Housing First approach at this point, do you think?
I think that has been something that the city has talked about, and I think that maybe that's not an official statement by the city, or if it is, then that is something that should be further discussed.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. Thank you.
In favor? In favor? A portion of the meeting is closed. All those in opposition? 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 Right.
Cheryl Calavartunos.
Hello, everyone. My name is Cheryl Calvatinos. I live at 56 Delaware Ave. I am also representing 43, 57, 64, and 72 Delaware Ave, owned by my mother. I am also representing 67 and 80 Delaware Ave, owned by my sisters. I tried to come to the first meeting on March 1st, where I was called to ask to be able to speak. They told me to come to the hearing on March 18th at 7 o'clock. I was never notified, and neither were any of my neighbors, about this public hearing, or turning Delaware Ave from a private way to a public way. I came in at 7, and it turns out the meeting started at 6:30, and I had just missed it. So I'd like to address my concerns. I have a big fear would be much more traffic and commercial vehicles on the street. The business just put in a new concrete ramp out from the door on Delaware Ave side, where I believe they will be making deliveries. This would put large trucks in down the street all the time. They also cut the curb and made an exit to the Delaware Ave side, which has now been filled in within the last week, but I do not know if they're still planning on coming through that way. They put a rim pavement instead of, they had curbing, they took the trees out and took the railroad ties. The street used to be considered too narrow to be a public way. It is hard enough to fit 2 cars turning onto the street from the VFW with big delivery trucks sitting there. It will be hard to get around. I would like to know what is the primary reason the city made it a public way. I have lived here my entire life, so I have seen all the businesses down there, Glenny's ice cream stand, Heritage ice cream stand, and they all thrive greatly and without any increase on traffic on Delaware Ave, without the street being a public way. I also have a dumpster concern. The trash is always full, and I'm worried about rodents. If you ride down the street, we all keep our property very nice. And most of the people that live on that street have been there for 60 years or over, like myself. Another question is, will there be changes made to the street itself? Are sidewalks going to be in place? Are the streets going to be widened? Would any of this need to be taken from our land? Are they going to be putting sewers and water lines in? Just a couple of my concerns, and I thank you for your time.
So tonight, all we're doing tonight is just 21 square feet that we're abandoning. All those concerns are very legitimate that you have. I know you've been in contact with Mr. Machado on some of them. So he'll continue to do that with you, but all those things that you did mention, he can help, we can take care of as a city, but not related to this public hearing. We're just doing the 21 square foot.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, they're all very,
Yeah.
your concerns are very legitimate.
Okay, so where the 21 square feet is, the 5 feet, 4 feet, whatever, they also put a ramp on that side. So, I don't know if that's making another 2 feet or if that's considered in the property line or, but
So
okay.
what I'll do is I'll have Mr. Machado see you before you leave here tonight. You can check it out right in the hallway and you'll connect. But if anything else, just let me or somebody else know. But tonight, all we're doing is just
Sorry about that. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Go ahead, Councilor Gish, you got something to say?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Mr. Machado. How did they put in a ramp if it's not given to them yet? If
I'm
it
not
hasn't
sure.
been
I'll,
voted?
I'll look into it with engineering and get
So
back.
should we table this vote until that's found out? Because how can someone build in an area that hasn't even been okayed by the city yet?
I believe it's the old Heritage ice.
No, I know where it is, but I'm just wondering, that land, we were told last time they were here, and just correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just trying to play by memory, that the building itself was in the public way. So they needed us to okay a portion being given back because the building itself was already in the public way.
40 years.
For 40 years, yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, and now they're building even further into the public way? I thought the reason for it was, we were told, was to make a correction from, as Mayor Rourke said, 40 years of an issue, not build even further. So,
I just think that this issue that's being brought up is, again, extremely legitimate, but doesn't have much to do with what we're doing here.
no, I think we should table it until we hear back from the assistant city manager if someone even built further into the public way now, because that was the reason why I believe that we were even talking about discussing it, is because, like you said, Mr. Mayor, that the building was already in the public way. We had to make right from something that was wronged years ago, so that's what we prepared to do, not actually build more into the public way because of this land piece giveaway.
What would be the question to have answered?
So I would ask that this body would table
Well,
it.
that's fine, but what question do you want answered for next week?
I would ask that they built in the public way before it was given to them. The area that are they building further in the public way? Because that's the public way still until we give it away.
Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you to the council. Currently, right now, whether it was the city or whether it was the builder, our lines don't match by 21 square feet, I believe it's 21 square feet. Now, as far as the aforementioned rail, is it a ramp? A ramp? Is it?
It's a delivery
Is it a new ramp?
That's
Is
what
it
I
a
mean.
curb? But is it a
How about
curb
this,
cut?
Mr. Manager?
Can we just get a report and table this?
You can't table it because we're going to start the whole process over again. We'll continue it for a couple of weeks and just get some answers back in 2 weeks.
Okay, I would make a motion to continue this for 2
Councilor-
weeks.
Yeah, second by Councilor Dakota.
Until we get a
All those in
report
aye.
back.
All motion passes.
Great, thank you. Mr. Mayor, could I suspend the rules to take,
I have one suspension first, and then we'll
Okay.
go to them.
Thank you.
Motion by Councilor Belanger to take 7-2 vote out of order, seconded by Councilor Mercia. All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 7.2, vote from the city manager. A vote to increase cost of living adjustment for City of Lowell retirees. A vote to increase the cost of living for Lowell retirees. A motion to approve by Councilor Yam, seconded by Councilor Mercia. Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Counsel Dakota.
Yes.
Counsel Getchia.
yes?
Counsel Janess.
Yes.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
Counsel Noon.
Yes.
Counsel Robinson.
Yes.
Mayor Rourke.
Yes.
Counsel Scott.
Yes.
Counsel Yem.
Yes.
Counsel Belanger.
Yes.
Counsel Chow.
Yes.
11 yeas.
Councilor Getchia.
Mr. Mayor, could we take suspension, under the suspension of rules, 6.2, the information report, Lowell High School update from Skanska, please?
By Councilor Getchia, seconded by Councilor Noon. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. Information report, Lowell High School update. Mr. Manager.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, and through to the council. We're going to invite Mr. Dowd and the team from Lowell High up to answer any of the questions or make any discussion points. Mr. Dowd, they also have their excuse me, guys. Their presentation should be loaded. Is that correct, Mr. Ball?
Loaded. There it is.
Thank you. Mr. Dowd?
Good evening. We're here to present on some unforeseen conditions that were encountered in the 1922 basement slab. Many of the members of the council walked through on February 15th, and this was one of the items we reviewed in the basement of the 1922 building. These unforeseen conditions are there was a gap under the slab which had settled, the soil had settled over the years, the engineers determined, and when we were cutting the slab to install piping as part of the plumbing system, the slab was dropping approximately 2 to 3 inches, and this is what revealed the gap under the slab. I just moved the wrong way, I'm sorry. So here you can see they were cutting trenches in the basement floor. When you cut a basement floor, the slabs should just stay where they are. As you can see, the spaces here, they were dropping approximately 2 inches, which means revealed the gap under the floor. Not doing too good here. Apologize for the presentation. The result of this is that Phase 3 in the 1922 building will be unable to be completed in August as scheduled. The 1980s building, which is currently under construction in Phase 3, will be completed this August and occupied by the high school. As a result of the 1922 portion of Phase 3 being unable to be completed, that will push out till December of this year for the 1922 portion to be completed. As a result of the 1922 portion of Phase 3 not being occupied in August, the Phase 4 start, which is the south end of the 1922 building, as well as Coburn Hall 1892 building, which is supposed to start in June of this year, will be pushed out to a January of 26 start. As a result of Phase 4 not starting till January of 26, as well as additional scope that will be encountered in Phase 4, because this slab issue The engineers have done investigations and determined that it also extends into the Phase 4 portion of the 1922 building. With that additional scope, we will push the finish of Phase 4 till the spring of 2027. Suffolk Construction is currently putting together a fully revised schedule that will be issued to subcontractors to review in the next couple of weeks. We have worked closely with the high school administration, the Lowell Public Schools administration, as well as the city manager's office over the last 2 months, reviewing every angle of this, of how we can proceed that is most effective, in particular for the students, for the operation of the high school, for their education, and for their safety. The path forward, which we have developed, which is in your packet, is that the 1922 portion of Phase 3 can't be turned over in August, and again, that pushes Phase 4 into 2027. We are currently developing the costs for what the impact will be of the extended schedule, as well as what it will cost for the 1922. The entire basement slab needs to be removed. 2 feet of soil underneath it then needs to be removed, and structural fill needs to be brought in, followed up by a slab, a reinforced slab being installed in all those locations. We are currently pricing this. The pricing will be coming in over the next 2 months, and we will be back at the end of June detailing what the cost impacts are to this unforeseen condition within the building. We have gone back in our records and noted that in August and September of 2019, the structural engineers, FBRA, doing their due diligence during design, had Suffolk place 2 cores in the 1922 building, one in Phase 3, one in Phase 4. We've gone back to those reports. Nothing was revealed of this condition in those locations, and we are, when we're tearing it up, we are seeing there are some places where the voids are very limited, and when those were not detected in those locations. We'll have costs in June of in June of this year. What this means for the overall project is that the final move-in for the high school will be in summer of 2027. We evaluated doing a move if we could finish Phase 4 mid-year, and it is not feasible to move the entire school during mid-year. The Freshman Academy, which is currently occupied over on Page Street, in the final move, that moves into the 5-story building that was turned over back in August of last year. That is now swing space, since we took the 22 and the 80s offline, with classrooms for upperclassmen. So when the whole project is complete, all of the upperclassmen that are in the 5-story building right now, they will all those classrooms disperse into the 1980s building and across the canal to the 1922 building. That is quite a large move, and doing that mid-year with students leaving, say, on Friday before April vacation, and then coming back with all the freshmen moving into the building, everybody else going, would turn the operations of the school upside down, which would be an untenable situation for the administration. So the summer is the best time to make that move. Further on in the presentation, we've said in the last time we were in front of you that the contingency was running Here we are. The contingency we were concerned about it and that it was running low. And the last time we spoke, we were saying that we were probably going to exceed the contingency and have to look at savings within other portions of the budget. With this event, we'll be pushed beyond finding other savings areas within the $381 million, and the project budget will exceed the $381 million, and those are the numbers we will come back with in June. And speaking with the city manager's office, our intent is to come back with a number that includes what the impact of this change was, the extended schedule, as well as contingency for moving into the completion of Phase 3, as well as Phase 4 in the 1922 building, as well as the 1892 building. We've had 32 change orders to date for $13.8 million of the $21.2 million we have in contingency. That leaves $7.3 million remaining. Right now, with change orders we've had submitted by Suffolk Construction, as well as change events that have been identified that we have put rough numbers on, we're forecasting $7.2 million additional in changes. This does not include the schedule extension nor the slab in the building. Further on in the budget, we have received $178 million in reimbursement from the MSBA, and we will continue to submit those bi-monthly to the MSBA. I would open it up to questions.
Councilor Getchell, all yours.
Thank you, Mayor Rourke. Thank you, Mr. Dowd, again for the presentation. I know it's not easy to come here and talk to us, but most of your presentation was about moving classes around, and that's really not our function. Our function is more about why we're where we are, how do we get this money. What is the square footage of the flooring in the 1922?
I don't know the total square footage of the flooring, but the slab replacement is about 32,000 square feet.
So 32,000 square feet. What about in the 1892?
I don't have those numbers available at this moment.
See, that's my problem, is that we have two floors, 32,000 square feet, and we did 2 boring holes to begin with. That's not sample. It's not a sample even remotely. 1 borehole in the beginning when they're doing all of this in 32,000 square feet of floor. That's not a sample of the floor. They were sampling an area where they were going to disrupt. Another question is the columns. As we're doing the floor, the columns are there. So have we checked the columns?
The structural engineers checked the columns. They've also checked the floor. There was no indication. There was no settling. There was no cracking. There was no indication to the structural engineers. We've gone back and spoke with them and reviewed everything that this condition existed. Spoken with Perkins Eastman, Mr. Drown here, spoke with FBRA and the cores that were done, and that is what is professionally acceptable for the number of cores to be performed, given the indications that were provided regarding the fact that there was no settling, no cracking, no indication that there would be an issue in that floor.
Councilor, if I could just follow up real quick before you, and the floor is still yours, but one of the questions that you asked, when you answered the council's question about you haven't done that section yet, the 1897 part of it, when does that happen? So not in this instance again, coming back to us with, another 6 months delay and more money. Council just asked, have you done that inspection yet? The answer was no, you haven't done that yet.
There were cores taken in the 1892 building back in August and September of 2019, and we're also looking to take additional samples over April vacation in the 1892 building.
So how many cores were done in the 1892 building at that time?
It was apparently one in the 1892.
So you didn't do coring, you did one. And it's the same thing on this one. Coring in one is not coring, it's not a simple coring. We did one and we're saying we're doing coring, and then if that's the professional standard, boy, do we need to change that. Because obviously it's gonna cost us $8 to $10 million in this. We can say no, we can say yeah, we can barter back and forth numbers, but the columns are a question. How did they actually check these columns? What engineering tool did they use to come up with, here we are, the columns don't have anything? Because I listened to the school building committee meeting, and it said they looked at them, they didn't look like this, there's no cracking by the eye, boom, 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 boom. Is that the way they did it, or did they actually use engineering practices to actually tell? Did they go down in it and see if it's moving? What did they actually do?
To the mayor, through the mayor to the council. What is standard practice is to observe the existing structure. And that's what the structural engineer did. They went through the building, looked at the existing structure to see if there was any indication of movement.
You're not telling me anything. You're saying they looked at something. Did they do it with their eyes, or did they do it scientifically? You keep telling me observed. There's different definitions to observed. What did they actually do? Did they just look at it and say, okay, it doesn't look like it moved and it looks like it's in place? What are we saying when we say observed?
Visual observation of the columns is the answer.
And that's what put us in the same place we're in. They did a visual of the floor, and here we are. And how deep are these columns? Do we know?
The columns sit on footings, and the footings, we don't know where the footings are.
Shouldn't we be checking that while we're putting different loads on? Since we don't know, if we know one thing wasn't done right, shouldn't we check the next? Just to make sure, now do a total exam while we're here? And if in 2019 we did one core, right? So we didn't really do coring. When you say coring, we did the coring at this time. You did one core here and one core there and called it a scientific study. I hope that's not the way that we're going to go forward. We just made a mistake. We should be looking at the outliers now, going over and above to check, because these numbers are going to be significantly more today with all of our tax money without the MSBA money included. When we could have had it if people would have done their jobs, and we can debate back and forth which way it wants to go, but we could have got 68% of this money back from the MSBA, and now we're going to have to rely on a delegation to try to help us again, if it can help. Which, Mr. Mayor, I don't know how we get to this stage and say we did cores and we did one in 32,000 square foot floor, and we knew we were going to put new loads on. And when you looked at, I would think it was in the, Mr. Dowd, you can correct me if I'm wrong, in the 1922, we pulled down a ceiling not knowing where the load was on the third floor because of the trusses. We didn't know where the trusses were in the ceiling, which that's ridiculous to me. What's holding the load above? It's magically appears and then you go, oh, the truss is in here. We had to know that there's a truss going across, and this money is like, it's not easy to ask people who are seeing these type of increases in their taxes every week. It's our job to protect them, and we hired you guys to protect us. And to me, we didn't get any protection. We didn't even get any engineering. We sit here and say 2 cores are engineering, one of a 32,000 square foot floor, and they say one is representative. Mr. Mayor, it's...
I got a question. So is there a ballpark number figure yet on the change order for this, just on the flooring? Is it 5 million, 10 million, 20 million?
We do not have a number put together. We're going out to the subcontractors to price that. We are currently pricing it, and we do not have a ballpark number.
Nothing at all? No.
We do not.
Okay. And so is the same testing going to be done in the April vacation that was done for the 22 building? As far as the limit of the testing?
They're still developing that. The scope of the testing.
Okay. And hopefully we learn from the lack of it in the 22 building going forward for the 1897 building or 1892 building?
Certainly.
So I think, and you're going to hear it probably 15 more times before you get out of here, but, we have a $381 million budget, and you spent a 7.2 out of 7.3 is going to be gone. I think the owner's contingency is what, 1.6 or 1.8 you have left on that. So if it was a perfect gig, we leave behind. So you're telling us come the first week in June, you're gonna know exactly how much over we're gonna be just on the flooring in 22 building?
We're looking at, I believe it's likely the 24th of June. We were looking at the schedule.
And at that point in time, you're gonna have, you have the total overcharges or the change order, and then you're gonna present to us just the cost to fix it and keep everything the same, or is something gonna be presented to the school building committee with, say it's $20 million, with $20 million cut in other areas of the renovation to pay for the flooring of the 22 building?
Our intent is to come back with a number that covers the schedule extension, the impact of the slab changes, as well as forecasted contingency for the remainder of the job, so that we come back with an ask for additional funds once.
So are you be able to, and obviously, you know, I'm a novice in this, but you'll be able to do that even after your April testing?
That is the intent, yes.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, before I just want to clarify a couple of things. The $21 million is gone by July, not touching the floor. If you go at that rate, Superintendent Skinner outlined, you're at another $8.7 million in contingency if you're running out of the contingency at the rate they already have over.
Yeah,
And that's
0.3 or 1.8 on their sketch.
Yeah. And then when you look at, we're not even talking anything outside of the floor that's done. So there's going to be roughly 10 to 12 million that you're going over. And that's a large number for a city to eat up when the MSBA would have paid 68, is that what it was, Mr. Manager, 68% of it? So, you know, that's 6 million out of 10. It would have been like 6.8 million out of the 10. I mean, this is somebody's fault, and we know when you're looking at the columns, they're still telling you that by my eye, it looks good. They don't know what footing's under it, they don't know anything, and if the quality of work is anything like the floor, we should be checking it.
And one more, Council Dakota, when will you be able to tell this council or the school building committee the total budget of the project to get it done the way it is right now? Because, you know, my guess is we're going to make a motion to petition the MSBA to give us 68% of whatever the overcharges are, right? If we have to go back and do it again, you know, 6 months from now or a year from now, when are you confident that we're going to have the absolute number of what it's going to cost to give us the plans that we have in place right now?
The nature of renovation, we will not know the absolute number until we are complete with the job. We are going to forecast what we will need to complete the job when we come before you on June 24th.
Right, thank you. Councilor Dakota?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I apologize, I'm not going to be as nice as Mayor Rourke here. I feel like you guys are dancing around this whole thing. I really do. The amount of experience that we have sitting right here at this lectern, you can't give us an approximation of what that slab is going to cost? Please. Be straight with this council. Give us a number that we know that you're going to be around. And don't say June. And we haven't even got to the 18th, with the Coburn Hall. Are we looking at more unforeseen problems? I swear to God, I'm never going to use that word again after this is all said and done. But I just don't like where we're going with this. Mr. Dowd, I mean, you can't give us an approximation of with the amount of experience that this gentleman has, and tell us roughly how much slab's going to cost?
Removing the existing slab, removing the soil, replacing the soil, and putting a new slab in will be in the range of $2 million. What I am speaking to of a number that we cannot give you this evening is the overall number for what the schedule extension will cost, as well as what will be forecast for what will be needed for contingency to complete the project.
So is it safe to assume that you've never seen something like this in any past projects?
Going over budget?
No, a scene like you've seen with the concrete slab or something like that.
I have not seen this issue has not been brought up. Mr. Drown, I believe you spoke with the structural engineer, FBRA, this morning?
Yes, we spoke with the structural engineer and the geotechnical engineer, and they have both not run into this situation previously. And they're both very experienced in renovation.
Amazing. I'll defer to my other colleagues for comments.
Councilor Belanger?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do appreciate Mr. Dowd coming in with the OPM and the contractors with the project. As I stated in the past, bad news needs to travel faster than good news when it comes to this project, and this is bad news. You know, and I appreciate, again, the information tonight, but I've heard about student movement, and it's very considerate and all, but I have not heard much about solutions. So, to me, I understand costs. We're all anxiously awaiting a cost estimate for this, there's no doubt about it. But to me, it's how do we get here? Now, we, the taxpayers of Lowell, I should say, paid in advance for their engineering firm to evaluate this project. And the Ray Reddick Field House was a knockdown. The 1980 building renovated was pretty cut and dried. There was no surprises there for the most part. This should have been the main focal point. We paid them to evaluate in the 22 building soil, the ceilings, the walls, and the floors. And it was not done properly. One whole board in a 19 building over 100 years old with known flooding. I don't know if the flooding from the canal has to do with the flow of water coming in and out. I don't know that. I can't say that with absolute certainty. But with those known flooding issues in that canal, why a deeper dive wasn't done in this area of the basement on the north side, I'll never know. To me, to sum it up in one word, this is negligence. Somebody here is negligent, and it's not the city. The city paid for this service. Someone failed us. So with that being said, Mr. Mayor, through you to the manager, look, it's us that has to go back to the taxpayers here. And that is an absolute last resort, and I don't think it's fair. Mr. Manager, to you, I understand in Massachusetts, it is difficult or possible to bring suit against a contractor. If you could please elaborate on that a little bit and see what our recourse can be, if you don't mind.
Yeah, Mr. Manager.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through to the council. Counselor, on advice of council, we can't discuss that at this time, but I will tell you from the perspective of where we will go tomorrow is we'll be reaching out to the delegation to have a further discussion with the treasurer to discuss a potential, not potential, but the overrun of this project. And hopefully what was mentioned earlier, the 68% recapture is something we could do. But once again, on advice of council, we wouldn't be able to discuss it at this time.
At this time, okay. Well, that's an avenue. If it cannot be discussed tonight, I would like to pursue at some point, because even the taxpayers will be on the hook, an estimated 20%. Still not fair to me. This should have been caught. This derails this project. This is time and this is money. And this should not have happened. This should have been seen. That's my personal view. And we need to come to solutions sooner rather than later. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't want to beat a dead horse on this issue, but it really just is unfathomable, I guess, who sets the professional standards, if this is the professional standard. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that. But I just can't imagine, even if there is a professional standard, that there's general knowledge, I think, to everybody in this room, that a large amount of water flooded in that basement pretty consistently. I was on the school committee. I mean, we were sent photos constantly. So even if that was the norm, I would think there would have been some expertise to take a little further dive into that. So I do think this is something we should consider having a discussion in executive session about. And I would put that in the form of a motion that we talk about our options in executive session. Thank you.
Motion made.
So, can I make a suggestion? That's why I asked Mr. Dowd when the total amount of money that there's going to be excess or over budget would come in. So we wait till that comes in, then we can take that up.
Yep, thank you.
All right, great. Councilor Mercia?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I hate to say this again, but this is why I voted for the school to be brand new for our children. Never mind this digging and finding one thing after another, and I'm afraid we're going to be all set. They're going to be gone, and we're going to be stuck with more problems than we ever realized we had. And I'm sorry, but this is why I wanted something new for our children, and I think it would have been built by now. Thank you.
Back to the motion by Councilor Scott, second by Councilor Robinson. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion. No? Councilor Getchia? Or?
Can I just speak
Yep,
first?
good.
I think we might be putting the cart before the horse. I think that this is our building. We have a problem. Whether they got it in the beginning or not, the only difference in this whole outcome is can we get to the MSBA and put in and try to get payback. If we can do that, a lawsuit means nothing. It means a waste of time. So I would ask that the manager would go back to our delegation and also to the MSBA and see if something can be worked out first before we start about trying to get worse than we already are in this whole discussion. Because I do think there may be an avenue where it may be something that we've moved mountains before. We got 38 million.
That's why I brought up earlier.
Yep, I agree with
imagine
you.
there's going to be a motion being made as soon as we get that number, so I think we need to get the number first.
I agree with you.
Hopefully that number is in the ballpark.
And I'm hoping that, the MSBA would step up and say that, and you can confront them with the evidence that you have. It was unknown, and here we are, and to help. I think that that's the best path right now. I don't think going into executive session and tying up our lawyers and everyone else in this whole situation until we see whether we can get money back from the MSBA or not. That's just my opinion. Thank you.
All options can be on the table once we get that number. So end of June, we sent out?
That is correct, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Wish of the body? Yeah, wait till then? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, returning to the city council motions, or before we stay, any other out of orders? Thank you. Section 5, city council motions, 5.1, Councilor Getchia requests city manager provide the city council with the unaccounted water numbers for calendar years 22, 23, 24, as reported to the Department of Environmental Protection. Seconded by Councilor Janess. Councilor Getchia.
Motion speaks for itself.
Next up, we have, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. Next up, we have 3 refiles. 5.2, Councilor Getchia requests city manager provide the city council with a report outlining how many water main breaks the city has repaired since July 1st, 2023. Did a contract with the city staff make the repair and the date of the repair, size of the water main. 5.3, request city manager provide Lowell City Council with last 3 years of fire hydrant inspections done by Lowell Fire Department during the annual inspections. Refile 3/11/25. 5.4, Councilor Getchia request city manager provide the city council with list of fire hydrants replaced, the location and the date they were replaced over the past 3 years. Another refile, 3/11/25.
Motion speaks for themselves.
Second.
Second by Councilor Newman.
I'm sorry. Motion speaks for themselves.
5.6, Councilor Mercier requests Parks and Rec Subcommittee hold a meeting with the Board of Parks to revisit some proposed policy changes regarding tournament fees and liability insurance. Second by Councilor Noon. Councilor Mercier.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
We missed one, 5.5, right?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, we can do this one and go back to it.
Yeah, we'll go back to it. Yeah.
This motion is before us because it is my understanding that the Board of Parks, upon further study in the bylaws on the policy and procedures of the rules and regulations, find a couple of amended changes that need to take place on one being a tournament and fees and the other on liability insurance. So states this motion. I would like to refer this motion to the Parks and Recreation Subcommittee. If there's no objection, and anticipating that there wouldn't be, I scheduled a subcommittee meeting anyway.
No presumptive conflict.
There's no objection, right?
I'll second the motion.
Subcommittee, seconded by Councilor Yem. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes.
Thank you. So it should be Tuesday, next Tuesday at 5:30. If there's no objection, I'm sorry.
You're a forward thinker, Councilor Mercier.
Mr. Clerk, you get that?
You got to think ahead.
During the 5.5, Councilor Getchia requests Mayor call executive session for the purpose of outlining the negotiation procedure, the goals and language to be bargained on behalf of the City Council by the manager of the auditor's contract. Seconded by Councilor Robinson, Councilor Getchia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just think that we should set ground rules for the manager to go in and negotiate a contract with. It has nothing other than that. It's just setting the ground rules that we're whether to look at, that's all. Thank you.
Any other? I know we talked about it last week, and we voted to just have the contract be brought in front of us, and I thought at that point in time, if we needed to make a change to it, we could do it. Mr. Clerk, do a roll call, please.
Councilor Dakota.
I'm sorry, for clarity here, what are we voting on?
Motion is request myself call executive session for the purpose of outlining negotiation procedure, goals, and language to be bargained on the city council by the manager for the audit of this contract. 5.5.
Yes.
Yes.
Council Getchia.
Yes.
Council Janess.
No.
Council Mercia.
No.
Council Noon.
Yes.
Council Robinson.
Yes.
Mayor Rourke.
No.
Council Scott.
No.
Council Yem.
No.
Council Belanger.
No.
Council Chow.
No.
5.7, Councilor Belanger requests city manager provide update on sidewalk on Douglas Road from the Riley School to Colley Stadium. Seconded by Councilor Mercia. Councilor Belanger.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Manager, through your wisdom, the Riley School Playground was granted nearly $750,000 for improvements in that Riley School Playground. And it is essentially a park. It's a very utilized park in the neighborhood. And the neighborhood's very excited about and I'm glad to go door to door and spread the word about the improvements. However, to me, it's access is what this is about, which is very important. Douglas Road from the Riley to Colley Stadium is very narrow and not walkable. So how is a family with strollers going to access this park? That is very, very important to me, that families can access this park and utilize all these great amenities that are there and are going to be enhanced. So, Mr. Manager, please, I don't know where we stand with sidewalks. It's been in the conversation, but I think it's very important that we make that happen. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
I remember what a huge issue this was, putting sidewalks on Douglas Road back in the high school debate, Councilor, but all those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 5.8, Councilor Yem requests city manager send a letter to the Joint Committee on State Administration and Regulatory Oversight with a copy to our state delegation in support of the City Council's endorsement of the following bills: House 3306, House 2153, an act establishing the fourth Thursday of March as Tuskegee Airmen Commemoration Day, seconded by Councilor Mercia. Councilor Yem.
Motion speak for itself, Mr. Mayor.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 5.10, Councilor Robinson. Request city manager have the proper department provide options to create shade improvement opportunities at city playgrounds. Seconded by Councilor Scott. Councilor Robinson.
Thank you. This was brought forward, something that I had never really thought of is a lot of children that are utilizing it with their family members, medications. And sometimes it says stay out of direct sunlight. So, I mean, to give that option for like a guardian or parent of the child, as well as the child that's actually out utilizing the space, I think it's something to start looking at. Thank you.
Councilor Scott.
Thank you. I just like to support this motion. I think it's an excellent motion. I go by O'Donnell Park, the splash park there, and I see the parents and kids huddled up against the brick building trying to get out of the sun. Even if we just have those, like overhead tarps that you see some places, kind of just to block some of the sun, that would be really good, and I think this is a great motion. Thank you.
What a gazebo, Councilor Scott.
That would be great.
Councilor Getchia.
Just put solar panels there. They create shade. Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the manager. Again, this is a very good point to have a tree committee. They would have already highlighted these places for plantings and had it all in place. So I think there's a real need for a tree committee in this city that can actually put policies and put planning in place that would have these areas become growth areas that would create long-lasting shade. Thank you.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. Councilor Robinson. 511. Request city manager have the proper department provide possible solutions to address the increase of commercial yellow school buses parked along public ways throughout Centerville. Seconded by Councilor Getchia. Councilor Robinson.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, if it's okay, I'd like to make a motion to amend that just citywide.
Very provincial of you, Councilor.
And I mean, the thing is that as I was leaving my house today again, West 6th Street, Eagle Park, the yellow bus is parked there again. I mean, it's happening frequently, and it's been brought to my attention that it's not just in my district, so I'm sure others might be hearing similar complaints. Thank you.
Councilor Scott and Councilor Dakota.
Thank you. I'd also just like to show support again, I guess, for this motion. And I'd like to see if we can include larger commercial vehicles, if the author of it is amenable. I mean, there's so many tow trucks parked all over the place right now, blocking right up to the corners, even going out into the road at the corners. So I don't know if you'd be amenable to include that in the motion. Thank you.
We have an ordinance on commercial vehicles, I believe, right?
Well, even if we can just include in the response about what is allowed and what isn't allowed in the neighborhoods, I think that would be helpful.
Sounds good. Councilor Dakota?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just for clarity, it is in the contract for all school bus contracts that no yellow school buses are to be parked on any Lowell roadway. If in fact they are, then that needs to be brought from the school department to let the transportation vendor know. If not, they can be fined or towed. But it is clearly stated in all the contracts that they are not to park on Lowell roadways.
Motion for next Wednesday. Mr. Manager, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through to the council. Councils, we've been looking at this actually, so hopefully within the next week or two we will have something back. And the desire would be obviously under the city ordinance that we're looking at is 266-36. Would invite people, not yet, not today, but let me get a response to make sure that this can actually indeed happen through 311, because we could send our police folks, and that's another plug for folks to use 311. So it's really working well. We're very happy about it, but this would be one of those opportunities where we would highlight the issues in the neighborhood. But if you could give me a week, maybe 2 weeks, and we will we'll go through the ordinance piece to ensure that indeed can happen.
Scott?
Just one more quick comment on it. I am aware of some school buses in the neighborhoods that are parked there that have been parked there for 15 years, and neighbors have arrangements that they have no issues or concerns about them. My only concern about completely banning them is that we are in a bus driver shortage right now, and I know some people that are going to leave their job if they cannot park their vehicles at home. So the only thing I would ask is that possibly we could look at alternatives, like parking them at their closest school, closest to their house. So at least they're just, a short distance from home instead of, going out to Tingsboro or wherever they may be housed. Thank you.
Councilor Chow?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate the make of the motion, put this forward. All the councilors mentioned very good points, valid points already, but I just want to add that some of the school buses that park in dense area, they also park on the sidewalk as well, so I'd like to be able to make sure I know in the contract not supposed to be parked in the neighborhood, but also to make sure that, if there's anybody go out and take a look at them, make sure they don't park on the sidewalk as well. Thank you.
Mr. Robinson?
Thank you. Through you to the city manager. In the meantime, till we get a report back, what's the best course of action residents can take? Because again, I've received quite a bit of calls. June Street, West 6th Street at Eagle Park. I put one of them on June Street, I put on the 311 system, and it was unclear if any action was taken at that point. It went to the parking department, I believe, because it was categorized under maybe a parking issue.
Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through the council. Councilors, we'll try to work expeditiously, I'll say that twice, before Friday to get at least the council an answer on this, and then we'll just answer the 5.11. So let's see if we can try to get an answer out of legal. We'll update everybody, and then we'll update the public, because I do know there is a problem. There is an issue, and people are complaining about it. We will have to take into Councilor Scott's considerations as well, as far as if it's something that's being worked out throughout different neighborhoods, if they park places. I mean, that's where this gets a little bit of a problem. If we're going to do it in one neighborhood, we're going to have to do it in all the neighborhoods. But, if I could ask our attorney to see if we can get on this before the end of the week, so at least we know which way we're going before we answer the actual motion.
Councilor Getchia?
Mr. Manager, in that motion response, can you also pull the 311 and see if it has even been sent over to the 311 to be addressed? Because I mean, we just had Captain Damaris at one of the neighborhood committee meetings, and he said he would address it the best he could. So I do think they're working on it, but who would be the one who actually would go to these types of complaints? Would it be the police or would it be parking?
Mr. Manager?
Mr. Mayor, through you to the council, currently right now it'd be LPD. We're also working on something else for parking, the parking folks. So stay tuned on that one. But right now it'd be LPD.
So it sounds like you're on the same wavelength as I'm on with we should be sending parking over there if they're here during that time, and they should be writing those tickets. And then if it's after their hours, we should send the police over. Thank you.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 5.12, Council Robinson, request the manager have the proper department provide an update on installation of speed bumps in Centerville District. Seconded by Council Mercier. Council Robinson.
Thank you. Through you to the manager. I know Billings was definitely successful last year with the CSO work, getting ready to go in the fall, early fall, I think it was explained. I was just hoping that we have a plan to reinstall on Billings, and we were supposed to see one on, I believe it was West 6 by Eagle, somewhere in that vicinity. For whatever reason, it didn't happen last year. We were told it was gonna at the neighborhood group meeting, and if we can get those temporary installations at least up this year, it'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 5.13, Council Robinson, request city manager the proper department report on the status of the old Centerville Social Club. Seconded by Council Noon. Council Robinson.
Thank you. Motion speaks for itself. Thanks.
All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. Communication from the city manager. 6.1A, National Vietnam Veterans Day. Councilor Yum.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to thank Mr. Manager's office and the Mayor's office for putting this together. It's very moving, emotional, touching, and I'm very honored to be part of this. And thanks to a number of Vietnam vets and their family who in attendance. If I could make a motion that any veteran event that will be videotaped by LTC to be rebroadcasted because that was a 50th anniversary and we do not have the video by LTC to share with the rest of the city. So I would like to make that motion that all veterans event will be recorded by LTC and rebroadcast. I'm looking for somebody to second the motion.
Seconded by Council Mercier. All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes.
Thank you.
Motion response C, letter to the Joint Community Education by myself and Council Scott. Sound looks good. I'll bring it to the school committee for their endorsement as well. 6.2, information reports. Mass DOT Route 110 paving project request. Mr. Manager.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through the council. Council is 110 is going to be repaved by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and Mass DOT, and we're just thinking it was a good opportunity. We'd heard from a group of residents that have a real concern with the area over that way. If they're really bringing in, which I believe this is happening, new sidewalks and a dedicated bike lane, we should be putting a rapid flashing beacon there. So I know Councilor Robinson, we had discussed this previously, trying to slow traffic down in that area. So that's the intent of this, to move forward to Mass DOT and asking them to complete that.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Yum.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, through Manager Golden, will there be a way to prevent a head-on collision? Because on Route 110, just before the Duck Island, there's some number of head-on because the road was curved so badly, and a number of head-on collision that result in fatality. Do you know part of that will be requested as well? Thank you.
Councilor Robinson, speed bumps. Mr. Manager, give it a shot.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through to the council. Councilors, Liz Altman is our professional when it comes to obviously traffic engineering, but I'm going to speak to what she would say. The minute we start to shrink the roadway, many people remember 110 in that area. I can still remember learning how to drive over there. There were 2 lanes in each direction on 110. That caused a major problem. They brought it down to 1 lane in each direction. What the school of thought here, and I don't want to speak for Ms. Altman, but when you shrink a road by bringing in bike lanes and things of that nature, it automatically will slow that road down. If you're looking to say put a barrier or a wall down the middle. I don't think that that's what they're looking to do at this time. They're looking to actually shrink the road in, and therefore feeling is that, and once again, Ms. Altman's probably watching, and I hope I'm not making a mistake on this, but when you do shrink roads, people tend to drive slower.
Not 110.
Not 110
Yeah,
currently right
Mr.
now.
Manager,
That's correct.
yes.
I agree with you. I've driven it multiple times. But
So I'm just worried about that because maybe the crash data can really show MassDOT that
Sure.
something need to be done to prevent head-on collision.
I'll speak
That's
to Ms.
all.
Altman again to see if we need to ask how they're going to slow that traffic down. But I drive that pretty regularly myself.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Robinson?
Thank you. Through you to the manager. I believe we put a motion forward to look at that, and MassDOT said they're not looking to reconfigure, because what it is the people coming off First Street, jumping out onto 110, and it's a sharp, I don't know what degree turn. MassDOT looked at that. They did review the data at the time, and they said, that's a full reconfigure, and for whatever reason, they weren't willing to entertain that idea when this was in the infancy stages. So now they're moving ahead with installation of bike lanes and everything else. So, I mean, I really don't imagine they're going to change the work order here to implement that.
Manager?
Once again, we're just hoping that they're going to take, if you're inviting more pedestrians into that area, more folks operating bikes, someone in some way, shape, or form is going to cross someplace. So to Councilor Yem's point and Councilor, to your point, we're trying to slow the traffic down in that area because we all drive it on a regular basis, and it needs to be slowed down.
Councilor Scott, do you have something? No, okay. Information report, City of Lowell tax exemption programs, Mr. Manager?
Mr. Baldwin is going to answer the tax exemption program as to what has been happening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Manager. So we wanted to give the council a report on the exemption program, seeing as we've just gone through the period for abatements and exemptions. There have been some other motions by the council relative to some changes to exemptions that we'll be bringing back reports on those, but this is just a report to the council and to the public as to the the exemptions under the statute that are available. These are all set by Mass state law. There is a wealth of information in the council packet, but also on the city website and the assessor's department if individuals who are widows, veterans, elderly, etc., need more information or are unfamiliar with this, we would encourage them to reach out to the staff in the assessor's office, and they would be more than happy to help everyone. Thank you.
Councilor Yem?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through the CFO, I just want to say thank you. It's a really great information, and the only way is that we need to kind of publicize it. I know we have it on our website, the city website, but we need to do more to kind of educate and let the public know, especially the residents who are falling into these categories, that could benefit from that. This is a tough time, so anything that we can save them, it will be greatly appreciated by the resident. Thank you.
Skipped one, motion response, I'm sorry, information report, Parks, Mr. Manager?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, and through the council. Councilors, this is another great opportunity to spotlight our different departments. Last week, there was a spotlight on the water department and the fact that we're spending $99.7 million, I believe the number was. This week, we're going to talk about parks. Next week, we're going to talk about Parks and Rec, what's happening there, and it's very germane to the time frame as far as getting some of the kids back to work. And after that, we're going to be talking about DDS. But realizing, when we started to look at this, starting to realize that we have over 400 acres of parks, playgrounds, road islands, I believe that includes cemeteries. Last year, in I think it was February of 2024, this council took a vote to put some free cash aside, and free cash to go out to get a professional consulting firm to come into the city to take a look at this. And with that free cash, back in August of 2024, we went out, we received 3 bids, and we ended up working with the Matrix Group. So the Matrix Group we're still working on currently right now, and what is being discussed throughout DPW, not just parks, but parks and as well as the street department. But the current state of the assessment, the stakeholder input, asking everybody what they think, the best management practices, the comparative analysis of what we're doing and the current trends in the industry, the operational organization and staffing analysis. So basically, if you want to think about this overall, what the council had voted on with that free cash is to do a SWOT analysis of our DPW and our Parks Department. So I'm happy to tell you that we're coming up, hopefully closing that out relatively soon with the Matrix group. So what we're going to be looking to do right now is to continue the study, but of a comprehensive landscape management plan, or something more easily referred to as a Parks Master Plan. That, I think, is going to prioritize our documentation, asset management, the use of technology, and the safety protocols. So what we have today is a presentation before you, which I know everybody's had an opportunity to see. I think we're going to put it up here, but we want to make sure that the presentation is on the website. And it gives you a snapshot. We figured it was so important because each council is talking about how we can attain a higher value and how we can do things. But I think it was important to bring this out at this time to give the superintendent of parks the opportunity to say what's been happening, the good stuff that's been happening between January 2025 until present. That snapshot is happening right now. But once again, with all the facility improvements, the illegal dumpings, the snow removal, the field cleanups, the ballpark preparations, we're eagerly awaiting the final report, which we're working with. I mean, the commissioner, myself, the assistant city manager, we've been in contact with the Matrix group. And I'll tell you, this is going to be an impressive piece to kind of come back and really discuss for the first time in the city a comprehensive land management program, or simply just a Parks Master Plan. But at this time, I just want to give the Parks Superintendent, Mr. Cohen, the opportunity just to go through some things that have been happening, some highlights between January 1st and the present.
Thank you, Mr. Manager.
Superintendent.
Good evening, everyone. I'm here to just give you a quick update of park operations throughout the next year, and I'm hoping it goes better than the high school presentation.
You better hope.
So, here's an example of stuff we were doing over the winter. That's Shed Park. Heather up there doing a fantastic job all by herself, taking these old storage areas that have been untouched for decades and making them into usable space. More examples of that. The guys up at Carly trying to clean up those locker rooms and bathrooms as best they can throughout the winter. And since it did snow today, I figured we'd jump right into the snow plan over the last winter. This is a map of our sidewalks that we do, color-coded for skid steers, track skids, which are smaller skids that we can get on the sidewalks the skid steers can't fit on, and snow blow routes for the really tight spots. In these streets and sidewalks, in the sections, those are done by contractors if they're available in that neighborhood. Last winter, we only had contractors in Pawtuckaville, Centerville, Belvedere, South Lowell, and that was it. We covered the Highlands and the bridges. And to answer, I know Mr. Robinson, there was an issue at Eagle Park last year about a sidewalk being missed. I found out about that a couple of days later, and I was informed that the contractor in that neighborhood never left Gage. So none of the sidewalks were done in that neighborhood. So I sent my guys in, and we cleared them all up. That should have been spotted by the spotter in the area before the storm was over, and that was the problem with that spot then. These are our 10 parking lots that we addressed during the winter. I know there were issues on some of those parking lots. It's just whenever it snows, people, especially when there's a snow ban, people go park in these parking lots. So we get to them as best we can. Normally, we can't clear them all till the cars leave. Then we usually get in there the day or two afterwards. One of our upgrades at Stedman Street is we're putting in a new break room. Working on that. We're just waiting for furniture to move that in. And then we're going to take the old break room and convert that to more offices for more employees. Example here of over the winter jobs, painting picnic tables. We're bringing in the ones that aren't anchored down, obviously. Refurbishing some benches, Lucy Lockham, Derby Park, and we painted over 200 barrels during the winter. This is a whole map of all of our locations. We have 107 total. So that's something as small as Glacial Island, which I know Councilor Kitchen knows of, very few other people know of that one, but also as large as Colley Park. You know, so Colley is just considered one area that we take care of. Here are some examples of just this year's cleanup as we're making progress through. Fortunately, the weather in March was better than the weather in April, so we did get a jump head on this. And these are the ball fields that have been finished to date. Obviously, they've been struggling with the rain the last couple of days to get these things playable, but they're doing an excellent job at making sure the high schools can play. Over here is just basically a thorn in my side with illegal dumping. Over the last calendar year, we've done over 2,000 man-hours just chasing these things down and cleaning them up. That's on a daily basis. I'm getting calls. And these are our ball fields. We've got 30 permanentable ball fields with 20 essentials. The other 10 aren't being permitted out by anybody. So this is where we focus most of our time on, are those ball fields. And that's our total list there, I'm sorry. In May, we start up with these, getting the splash pads ready. They open up Memorial Day weekend. June, we start getting the pools ready. They open up July. And then July's festival season starts all the way through August. August, October, doing continuous cleanup. Then November, we start with our leaves and continue that until it starts snowing. This is a list of all the partners that we work with and in touch with on a weekly basis. Lowell Youth Baseball, sometimes on a daily basis. And that's all I have.
Councilor Young?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, sir, for your report. I just have a quick question on the park, baseball field park. I saw park number 5, Clemente Baseball Field, which is behind the Bartlett School. The Roberto Clemente League of Lowell decided not to go because the kids have to cross Fletcher Street to that field. So they are using the ball field in the North Common, and I don't see it is on the list. And number 2,
so that ball field is not permanentable. That ball field is being reconstructed this spring.
Right.
So Maria did actually permit out Clemente Field.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Councilor Belanger?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, through you to Shannon. Thanks for coming in tonight. Really, I'm very. I read this report over the weekend. I was very, very pleased with it. In particular, the improvements at the Shed Park Pavilion were long overdue, as well as the locker rooms at Colley Stadium, right up there as well. So I love the renditions of before and after were very aesthetically pleasing, as well as the manager's plan for a master plan for all our parks as well. I think that's great. But so Shannon, my concern is though the still persists and probably getting worse is the illegal dumping. What can we do to help combat that on our? What do you need? What do you need for? I know it's. How do you do it? I don't know. Well, what do you recommend? What do you need from us? Because it's getting out of control. A lot of man hours, well over 2,000 man hours, just in illegal dumping. Very concerning. What do you suggest?
The ideal answer would be cameras.
Yep. Okay.
I have the same parks over and over and over daily.
Yep. Yeah, I'm sure you could identify some hot spots. Okay, what I'd like, Mr. Manager, if you could work with Shannon, how are we doing on camera installation on some illegal dumping sites? Maybe he can identify the top 5, 10, but I think we need to ramp up enforcement there to the best we can. I really do. So please do your best, work with the commissioner, the superintendent, and work to combat illegal dumping. Thank you very much.
Councilor Mercia?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to Shannon, great presentation. I did go over the report over the weekend. Very good things that have been done, and I'm not surprised about it. And yes, you did do better than your previous speaker that came to the podium, but that's another story for another day. But I think that one of my colleagues, and I don't remember which one, the snow and ice account is the only account that we are allowed to over budget, because we never can predict what type of a winter we're going to have, so we need to make it safe for the public. So do you know where we sit with that budget? I don't think we would have gone over, right?
I do not know that.
CFO, Councilor Mercer, can answer that for you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You get the money.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Money man.
Thank you very much for your question, Councilor. That is something that's come up here recently and is an annual question as the spring approaches.
Yes.
As I mentioned, DPW has to put out a call for all of the invoices that are outstanding for contractors that may have worked, and some of them are smaller operations. But all of that is to say we're still working towards a final number. Yes, it does appear that we've overspent, which is allowable under the law, by somewhere in the neighborhood of $1 million. We're identifying surpluses in accounts to try to close that down, but we will bring a report back to the council with the final
great.
number
Thank you.
in a short order.
Sorry, Shannon.
That's all right.
Catch you off guard there.
Councilor Chow, Janess, Scott, and Getcha. Councilor Chow, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Shannon, for coming here to make the presentation and for the report. As Councilor Mercier mentioned, it's a lot more pleasure listening to your report than the previous reporter. I just want to thank you and thank your staff for all the work that you do. A lot of acres, a lot of green pastures to cover. You look at the picture of the staff, you don't have a big department, and this is a big city, and you not only take care of the parks, the baseball fields, regular parks, the entire council, the entire city. We expect beautiful parks, green space, open space all the time. And it's not a time that when one of us needs something, we call upon you. You take care of it right away with the limited resources, the staff that you have. So I just want to thank you on behalf of the entire city council, the entire city. I know there's a lot more work to be done. We could talk all night what else needs to be done, but given what you have done an amazing job. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Council.
Councilor Janess.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, thank you to Shannon for coming in and giving this presentation. I too appreciate all the work that you and your team do. The parks and the open space are really one of the things that makes a community livable. And so the maintenance of that is extremely important to the residents, to the kids, and to everyone else in town. So thank you for taking care of it. I do appreciate that. My one question is specifically around the park sidewalk snow master plan that was noted in this presentation. This might be more a question for the manager than Shannon, but I noticed that it looks like the Riverwalk is colored in red here, which means it should be cleared with skid steer. I know we've been going back and forth about whether or not that is something we can do, are doing, can seek to do. And so I just wanted to kind of touch base on this again, just to understand where we're at with that, because it is something I hear from constituents quite a bit about.
Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to the council. Council, that's still something that I'm very uncomfortable with at this point, simply because of the EPA situation. I know that Assistant City Manager has been working on that. I do know as well that our original intent was to keep it open for cross-country skiing. I'm just not sure how we're going to be able to get any type of loader system down there to get that snow off of that area, quite frankly, in the time frame, or the ice, and et cetera, just simply because of the river. I have my own personal opinions of it's going to end up in the river anyways, but once again, I'll be talking to legal to find out, is there anything else we can do? But I'm at this point in time, I think we're going to keep it as a I'll say snowshoeing, or I mean, that's originally what we intended it for in the beginning. But putting a skid steer down there I don't think would be the answer.
Okay, just that's what's in the plan.
Yeah, I know. So, I've even asked superintendent not to do that. I just don't want to. The EPA is what concerns me about this.
I understand that, and I don't want to upset the EPA. I don't want to cause any ecological damage. And it's one thing to use it for recreation, snowshoes, cross-country skiing, whatever, But when it's coated in ice, people aren't down there with ice skates. So I don't know if there's some kind of happy medium that could somehow keep this usable, because when it does get icy, no one's using it for anything. So I know it's difficult. I know there's no easy answer here, but I will just keep saying that it is something I hear quite a bit about.
It is definitely, Councilor, something we've considered and we're looking at to see what we could possibly do, and I just don't have the answer yet.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would just like to comment that I have seen a visible difference in the parks over the last year. I think they are much cleaner than they were in my district. I'd just like to thank you for that. I know there's been a lot of hard work going into them. Veterans Park, McInerney Park did a complete rehab on those, cleaned them up, put new mulch down. I'm sure a lot of time, I think too much time is probably spent cleaning up trash around the city for the DPW. I don't know if you could comment maybe about how time consuming that is, I guess. And I can't not ask, I guess, but islands, planting, mulching, I haven't seen that done yet in the district at the parks. Is that in the coming month, or what is the plan for that?
Yeah, we're going to be in the 20s tonight and tomorrow night. We're not doing any seeding or anything at this point.
And mulching the parks?
We're going to start mulching very soon. Actually, some guys started cutting out beds today.
Okay.
That we can get on, but as far as planting, there's no way we can touch
And
anything.
is flag replacements under the purview of the parks, or is that
That's
veterans, or is that
DPW.
DPW? Okay, thank you.
Council, also, by the way, we're waiting, that bench has been repaired. It's been repaired once we picked it up. We're just waiting for that ground to solid up before, so we can drive on it. The only way to get out there is with heavy equipment.
Okay,
So
thank
that
you.
will be installed once that firms up.
Yeah, thank you.
Councilor Getchia.
Thank you, Mayor Rook. Through you to Shannon. Shannon, as Councilor Scott outlined, there are some challenges, obviously, with a lot of things to be done and manpower, and some things that take a lot of your time at edging fields and trying to weed them for the first few games when you got 20 fields to do. In last week, we talked to the manager about, the irrigation systems and trying to get them started up, and maybe it's something that we look to an outside source to be able to do it, to free up our staff, not take away anybody's overtime, but just to free it up so that it can do the other things good. And edging in that takes a lot of time. Is that something that we've looked at efficiencies to say, look, maybe we have someone from the outside come in and do some of these to try to alleviate some of the workforce
So
demands?
I haven't looked at anything irrigation-wise. That's under land.
No, I mean, I'm talking about the edging in the fields and stuff like that for you, to free up some of your people to say, hey, look, because I think we just paid like $1,500 to have the fields done. It wasn't a lot of money to do it, and it seemed like it freed up our workforce to be able to actually do all the other things that go on.
Yeah, there's for a few fields last spring. I actually just purchased a sod cutter, so that will help out, speed things along. We're just waiting for that to come in. That's an option for the event track. And we're just waiting. We're going to borrow DPW's roller. They just purchased a new roller last year, and we're going to use that to roll off the edges once we're done with that.
But you see what I'm saying to you is now it takes up more and more manpower, which is going to take you away from some other function that this council and everyone else is demanding to do. So is that really the most efficient way? Is there another way that maybe you just say, hey, look, you know what? Every year we're just going to do this. Because I think it's been many years that some of those fields ever saw it, so you got the big humps in them, except after you just did the contract or did all the fields over recently.
Yes.
But going forward, would it have been easier to have looked at just another source to give you a hand at, maybe that's not the piece. Maybe we look at some other avenue, because it's not a lot of money for the resources that are needed to do some of these things. And I'm just wondering, does it free up because there's more demands, that's all.
So I have one of the positions posted right now. I have several open positions. One of them, this person did nothing but the vent track. So he would stay on ball field after ball field and just keep continuing around all 30 ball fields. So he would be on that no matter what. So I don't think we would need to outsource that.
So what's the plan now that he's gone?
The posting has been the position's been posted. So once that's going, we're going to get him out there.
In my opinion, we just need to look at some efficiencies where we're adding more, and we're looking at some of these things where you're looking at trash and more time taken away. That if that's one area that it's not a high cost, like turning on irrigations as Lands and Buildings does, it's not a high cost to look at someone to go do that, and it frees up your manpower to actually dial in on some of the things that we get constant complaints about. Like if you go down to the North Common, that fence is still sticking out, it's still broke, and there's major issues down that area, but we don't get to them. And I'm just wondering, are we looking at efficiencies, or are we just taking on more and more and more and not being very efficient at a lot of the things that we really truly want to do? And it's not a knock at you, it's just the demand of what's going on is more and more and more. And like you said, we went out and bought a edger, now we're going to do that. Well, that takes more time. And right now we've seen that overtime budget go from, at one point it was $30,000. Now it was, last time I looked, it was like 170. So there's a major demand shift that went into it. So some things, I just wonder if we do look at the total efficiencies and say, you know, we're not trying to take away your overtime, but we're just looking to see if we can save you back for other things. That's all.
The only overtime we're doing now is mandatory overtime. My entire overtime budget this year was only 130. I know we've just gone into the negative on that recently.
Did you just say only 130? When I started on this council, it was 30 grand.
No, but I just heard you say 170. So.
Yeah, it went over, just like it's going to go over again this year. Like you just said, you went through the 130, so it's going over again this year.
And when that happened the previous year is because all the...
No, I'm not disagreeing with you at all. I'm just saying that there's a high propensity of going over because of the demand being put on. And when we look at it, I think there's efficiencies that can be done that can actually get to some of the things that, you know, some fields feel as though, and I'll say it, they're not getting the same justification as other fields. And the North Common is one that feels as though they're not getting the same look as, say, another park in the city. That's the way they feel.
And it's right to say that, and that's why they're getting a brand new field.
Right.
With work and irrigation.
Again, we let it falter to a point that needed that. And that's the hard part, is we let things feel to the point of needing replacement in all those years of not use, and then in the end we say we are replacing. So that's just my perspective on a lot of things. We do it throughout the city. It's not just the parks. We do it in our HVAC units. We do it everywhere in this city. We let things feel and then go to the taxpayer and go, well, we didn't do it, now we're just replacing it. And I think that we need to get into the train of thought of more maintenance, more efficiencies, and try to put it through. And I think that some of the things in here, watching your department paint is new to me, and it's good to see that in Shed Park it was painted. But in the past, I didn't know that it changed through the years, and maybe it has, I don't know. But if that's the case, then maybe we should look at, can teachers and their families paint in classrooms? I don't know. I think it's a good report, but I just wonder, are there more efficiencies that can actually take care of people during their, when they and I think you understand what I'm saying.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion.
And I was easier than
Thank you.
high school.
Appreciate that.
Councilor Belanger?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. One more question for you too, Shannon. Shannon, obviously, here we are in April, and the Little League baseball leagues will be, and softball leagues will be starting in the parks all throughout the city. So what are your crews doing in preparation, getting ready for the season?
They've already started.
Already started?
They've
Okay,
already.
not my, okay.
When I first got on, no one was allowed on the field till mid-April.
Yep.
Now they're on fields in March. So
Okay.
in the presentation, we've already got almost all the priority fields ready to play.
Okay, I've been reached out.
Some are softer than others. We still can't get equipment on.
Yep.
Ryan Field, for example.
Right.
So we are still working on them, but we've got the majority of those fields are ready to play on.
Okay, excellent. Great to hear. Thank you,
Motion
Mayor.
to accept and place on file by Councilor Mercia, second by Councilor Janessa. All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. Votes on
Thank
the
you.
city manager, 7.1, vote to authorize city manager to execute annual action plan.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Are we under the city manager's portion now? Could we bundle 7.1, 7.3, and 7.4,
By
please?
Councilor Mercia, second by Councilor Noon. All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 7.1, authorize city manager to execute annual action plan FY 25-26. 7.3, vote to transfer $140,750 to the cemetery. And vote 7.4, transfer $250,000 to overlay surplus. Motion to accept by Councilor Mercia, second by Councilor Robinson. Roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Counsel Dakota.
Yes.
Counsel Getchia.
Yes. Yes.
Counsel Janess.
Yes.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
Counsel Noon.
Yes.
Counsel Robinson.
Yes.
Mayor Rourke.
Yes.
Counsel Scott.
Yes.
Counsel Yem.
Yes.
Counsel Belanger.
Yes.
Counsel Chow.
Yes.
11 yeas.
Report Subcommittees 8.1, Economic Downtown Development Subcommittee, April 8th, 2025. Chairman Janess.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Earlier this evening, the Downtown and Economic Development Subcommittee met to get an update on the Downtown Lowell Business Improvement District proposal. Attending the subcommittee were the subcommittee members, myself, Councilor Belanger, and Councilor Noon. Also present were Councilors Robinson, Yem, Scott, and Mercier. And the city staff present was Allison Carter from the Department of Economic Development. She gave us a presentation and an update on what has been going on with the bid and the effort to implement it. So the bid has a steering committee that is all volunteer members, made up mostly of property and business owners in the downtown, and they've been actively engaging stakeholders to gather input and build a consensus on how to move forward with this proposal. The outline of the boundaries of the district are thought to be right now basically from Market Street to the river. There's still some tweaks that are going to happen there, but that's the current thinking. In order to create the bid, you must receive support from at least 60% of the property owners that represent a minimum of 51% of the total assessed property value in the district. So that's the goal. Feedback from the outreach that the steering committee has been doing has been generally positive, though there may need to be an adjustment to the model based on the property type as this proposal evolves. The purpose of the bid is to enhance downtown Lowell's economic vitality, safety, aesthetics, and coordination through property owner-driven investment. So some of the insights that came from stakeholder engagement events over the fall where the strength of the downtown is the cultural diversity in the food and the businesses, the national park as the tourism anchor of the downtown, a walkable layout, an active nonprofit ecosystem, and signature festivals and student presence. Some of the challenges are public safety and the perception thereof in the downtown, the vacant storefronts and the limited retail mix, the disconnected walkability and poor signage, which I know the city has recently addressed with new wayfinding, as well as parking concerns and underwhelming aesthetics, and a lack of coordinated events and marketing among the businesses in the district. Some key recommendations that came out of that were to improve the safety and cleanliness by enhancing the police presence, creating an ambassador role, help people find their way, and improve the lighting in the downtown. Coordinate with nonprofits on the social challenges that affect the downtown. Aesthetic improvements, including improving sidewalks, landscaping, trees, and lighting. Activating public spaces like the Canal Walk. Programming and activation. Expanding the year-round events, art markets, family programming, align retail hours with foot traffic. Business support, incentivize temporary uses and pop-ups in the downtown, streamline city permitting for events and outdoor dining. Some of the bigger ideas are to develop strong downtown branding rooted in the arts, explore entertainment anchors and large-scale activations, and improve transit connectivity, possibly by moving the bus station back downtown or other big ideas. Next steps for the bid include finalizing the bid boundaries, developing a budget, determining the fee structure and equitable adjustments by property type, prepare outreach and petition materials, and then launch the petition drive and begin coordination with the city through a memorandum of understanding between the bid and the city. It's envisioned that the bid would become its own freestanding nonprofit that would provide services in the downtown over and above what the city is currently doing. So this is not to replace any of the existing city services, but to augment and try to make it an even more attractive place for businesses to operate, for people to come and spend their time and visit the businesses. That's the update, and we were very happy to hear that it's being positively received and look forward to the continued work on it. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Need a motion to accept the report of progress by Council Noon, seconded by Council Robinson. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. Section 9, petitions. 9.1, 2 property damage claims. Motion to refer law department for report recommendation by Council Janess, seconded by Council Dakota. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 9.2, miscellaneous. Annette Torville requests installation of a handicap parking sign at 776 Lakeview Ave parking lot. AG Hardware Motion to refer to transportation engineer for a report recommendation by Councilor Robinson, second by Councilor Scott. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 9.3 miscellaneous. Infused Afrofusion requests installation of overhanging sign at 11 County Square. Motion to refer to Law Department for a report recommendation by Councilor Janess, second by Councilor Mercia. All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. 9.4 miscellaneous. VHB Market Group LLC requests installation of 4 6,000-gallon diesel fuel emergency above-ground generators for additional 24,000 gallons stored on site, 1 Market Way.
There is a registered speaker, Mr.
Should we do a motion for the reading first, or have him speak first?
It's up to you.
So we'll just do a motion to refer to a public hearing on April 29th, 2025, by Councilor Yam, second by Councilor Robinson. Mr. Clerk is the speaker.
Jake Fortes.
What's the date again, Mr. Mayor?
April 29th.
Okay, thank you.
Hello. So basically, I know that you guys are going to be having a public hearing on this later this month, but I'm just asking before you actually have the public hearing, if all the city council members could please come out and visit this area, because that wasn't done originally, and it has caused ongoing problems since. So I'm asking that if you guys could please visit the area and do a look of the entire area, not just from the Markley Group's perspective, but actually walk the neighborhood and look and see what the impact is of their changes to the neighborhood. And make sure that you please review the plans from the beginning, from when they first came. If you need a link to the folder, I would gladly provide that to you, or ask the planning department. Review all the plans from the start to where we are now, because that'll help understand things for the public hearing later on. Also, I would encourage the city council members to look up current events when it comes to data centers and their impacts on the community, so that you are well informed for when the public hearing begins. And please, please, please just do your homework. This hasn't happened quite frequently with regards to this particular project, and now that we have districts, some folks may not be familiar with them, but please, 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 before you do a vote, familiarize yourself with the project a little bit more. That's my
What's your
ask.
address,
Thank
sir?
you.
He's registered, just like Corey.
Okay.
Roll call.
Mr. Mayor, can I speak on it?
Oh, go ahead, Councilor Scott.
Thank you. I'd just like to express my concern about the project, about adding more diesel tanks to the project. I think it contradicts the values that are in our plans for Lowell Forward that call for us to be carbon neutral by 2050. How do we get there if we just keep approving more and more diesel tanks within our neighborhoods? This is an industrial site right in the middle of a neighborhood. It's a lot of asthma concerns. It's an environmental justice area. I think we need to talk a little further about this. I'd like to hear from our sustainability director about her feelings on this. Possibly we could refer this to a subcommittee, maybe the environmental subcommittee, to have further discussion before we move forward with this. Thank you. I'd make a motion
Seconded by Councilor Getchia. For what?
to refer it to an environmental subcommittee and invite Catherine Moses.
All in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm not making an opinion one way or another. I'm just making a comment, because when I looked at the papers that were accompanying this, I didn't see anything that I usually see when we had these in the past, that it was signed off by the fire chief. Did he okay this? I asked the gentleman while the meeting was going on, and he said that they did get a signature from the fire chief who signed off on it. He submitted the paper, but yet I don't see it in here.
It's in the packet.
In the back? I don't see his signature anywhere. I don't see it. I don't see it, so if you could include it for the public hearing so I can see. I believe him when he says that, but I didn't see it.
I'm good.
Thank you.
Thank you. 10, any announcements? I'm sorry. Kicking it out for a subcommittee, invited subcommittee hearing with Sustainability Director Catherine Moses. That was made by Councilor Scott, second by Councilor Mercier. Getchia, and all in favor say aye. Opposed, motion passes. Any? No. I'll make that Councilor Scott didn't want that. Want to do it beforehand? Yeah. So I made a motion to do a public hearing and second it, so we'll take a roll call on that. If it fails, we'll go to a subcommittee hearing. If it passes, it goes to a public hearing on August 29th. So on the public hearing date, August 29th, Mr. Clerk?
Counselor Dakota.
No.
Counselor Getchia.
No.
Counselor Janess.
No.
Counselor Mercia.
Wait a minute. No.
Counselor Noon.
No.
Counselor Robinson.
No.
Mayor Rourke.
No.
Counselor Scott.
No.
Counselor Yem.
No.
Counselor Belanger.
No.
Counselor Chow.
No.
See you at the subcommittee. Announcements, any? Councilor Noon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have two announcements, actually. First, I was asked to announce that a 50 years journey of remembering and resilience. There's a flight here, a schedule of all the events. I just want to announce just two events that's upcoming and near here. First is the screening, the film screening, titled Don't Think I Have Forgotten. That's going to be at April 12th from 1 to 4 at UMass Lowell O'Leary Library Room number 1212. The second date for the event is April 17, 5:30 to 7 p.m. at City Hall, JFK Plaza, at the Remembrance Vigil at the statues, refugee statue in front of the City Hall. And the remaining of the event schedule for the 50-year journeys of remembering resilience, you have the flight here. Everyone is invited to attend, the resident of Lowell and all of us council here. Second, I have the announcement, Feed and Nourish capital campaign by Merrimack Valley Food Bank is scheduled for May 15 from 11 o'clock to 1 p.m. at 1703 Middlesex Street, Lowell, Mass. Everyone is also invited to attend. Thank you.
Thank you. Any others? Just want to take a quick announcement. Everybody's aware that Erastus, the mayor's aide, will be heading in tomorrow for a procedure, and I know that Councilor Mercer will be at the grotto over the next couple of days. But we're all thinking about it, we're all with them, and we'll pass along updates as they come along. So with that being said, motion to adjourn by Councilor Mercer, second by Councilor Scott. Have a good evening.